Let's go to this conversation now. Could South Africans see some of the COVID-19 regulations like the wearing of masks indoors be scrapped? A letter believed to be from the Health Minister, Dr. Joe Phaahla, to various officials, including MECs, has been doing the rounds on social media. There has been a decline in hospitalizations as well as reported cases. These have led to some who have said it's time for the country to do away with the wearing of masks indoors and various other regulations. Let's now talk more on this with Rob Hutchinson, Managing Director of Dear South Africa. Rob, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Given what we've seen during the fifth wave, is it a good idea to drop the wearing of masks and other regulations?
I think it is. It's about time. We've seen a lot of reports that show masks have been pretty much ineffective in stopping the spread of COVID, and other regulations as well, including social distancing and the capacity on venues. The cases are at an all-time low. And although we might see another wave, we can definitely return to normal now without having to wear masks. If you look around the country, most people actually are not obeying the regulations, so it would be prudent of the government to actually drop them now. And it's good news that they are taking this step.
So are you saying, is it more of a behavioral call that people are not wearing them, or is it simply a scientific one?
It's both. There's both. There's evidence to show that the masks do not stop the spread of this virus, in that it is too small, or the masks themselves don't actually stop the virus. It can easily pass through, and we've seen that being the case as measures have been taken, and people are still contracting COVID. So, and yes, it is also a behavioral idea. People are simply just not obeying the restrictions anymore. It's been over 2 years now, and people are getting tired.
And I'm keen to hear then your thoughts on this one, because in his weekly newsletter, for example, Professor Salim Abdul Karim says masks actually do work. He says this week PNAS published an analysis that provides compelling evidence that masks work and work in many different settings across all 6 continents. And therefore, he says masks have proven to be effective in this regard. And you say that they haven't been effective. I'm keen to hear your response to what he says.
Well, definitely, we don't believe they've been effective at all. There's good science on both sides of the argument, and it all depends on who you want to listen to justify your views on that matter. We've actually seen extensive reports from even organizations such as the WHO that show that masks actually do not stop the spread. Even the COVID doctor, Dr. Fauci, on an international level, has on multiple occasions actually said that the masks are ineffective. They're only a precautionary measure, and they are there for behavior modification rather than to stop the spread of the virus.
There have been some who've said that government's, decision now, as much as it's still out for, comment by the various MECs, was because of pending litigation. Its hands were forced. Would you say this was the case?
Without a doubt, yes. Without a doubt, yes. We are one of several organizations that have launched an application and have filed papers to take the government to court, the health department to court on this matter. And we've been constantly in contact with them, exchanging legal documents through our legal teams. And we received word yesterday that this was a possibility that they might withdraw before we even go to court. So we believe this is due to public pressure from several organizations, and also the 309,000 citizens who had their say on this matter through our platform.
So what happens now to that legal challenge, should we get that briefing as purported by some media houses on Thursday that this could be the case? What then happens to that court challenge? Are you now going to be withdrawing it, or will you simply try to push ahead to make sure that we have no regulations at all come the 25th of July?
Yes, so we will be going ahead with our court case on the 25th to the 27th of July. The date has already been set down. And we must remember that there are two pending cases here. The one is against the limited regulations, which has been announced that they'll be withdrawing those. And those limited regulations are mask mandates, social distancing, and limits on venue capacities. However, there are still the draft regulations, which were adopted from the Disaster Management Act to be permanent underneath the National Health Act. On that, we are still going to court to have those regulations set aside as well.
And I'm also keen to hear from you on this one, because government has been saying that, they're still calling for more people to get vaccinated, and that is the only way that they can then be able to also guarantee the reopening of the economy a lot more faster. I wonder if you think that they have still been communicating their messaging effectively, or simply, as others are saying, that they need to do more on that front.
Well, also that's up for debate. You've got to start with the question that, are the vaccines effective with new strains and new variants coming out? And international studies would show that the vaccines are no longer effective. So rolling out on the current set of vaccines, which were developed against the original COVID virus, does seem kind of pointless and a waste of money. There's also evidence that shows that the fully vaccinated can transmit the virus and carry the virus, and also still succumb to the virus. So we have to look at alternative measures. I don't believe that vaccination will be the end all and cure all of this. And simply reaching zero COVID is an impossibility. It's simply not going to happen. What government should perhaps more focus on is sanitization and cleanliness and washing of hands and so on, and that will curb the spread of this virus and possibly others that might arise.
Talking about, zero cases of COVID in the future, I wonder how concerned are you as an organization about the possibility of more variants then, popping up in the future?
Look, there's always going to be a variant of some sort, whether it's of this SARS-CoV-2 virus or whether it's of a new virus that might emerge. So we are concerned, but no more than we would be for a severe flu season. The same precautions need to be taken during a severe flu season, and we hope that the government can roll out education programs that can educate people as to how to deal with that in a preemptive method rather than after the fact through vaccination.
All right, Rob, thank you so much for your time. Let's see then if, as we've read in some of the, news agencies, that the minister may brief the media or even the country on what happens next on Thursday. If that indeed does happen, or we see what happens next when it comes to this letter that is doing the rounds on social media. Thank you so much for that. That is Rob Hutchinson, Managing Director of Dear South Africa.